All right. The first thing that I want to start off with, team, is letting everybody know that everything that will be discussed today, we already have material in our knowledge base covering it. So we have two new articles, which would be QuickBooks Client Mapping and QuickBooks Item Mapping, which are the two main subjects we are going to be going over today. All right, with any further ado, we're going to go ahead and log into our test account that we have set up. I'm going to take it from step one. So uh, let's say we want to look at the QuickBooks integration. That's very simple. We're going to go to settings. We're going to go to company settings. Now we're going to go to where it says accounting. And once everything has been connected, we're going to have this option that says configure next to our integration. We are going to be greeted with the general settings, which is where we would be able to start the whole mapping process, specifically of, like library items, sales tax, invoice sections, payment method fees, things like that. We can also set up the way we want our exports to happen, if we want them to happen automatically and at which moments, if so. And then we can also do our tracking or our source or like source variables from the section here. So we can switch that up as well. And now if we come over to the import log, this is where we are now able to see the accounting items and the accounting customers. If this is maybe blank or if the list is a little bit smaller than expected, what we should be doing, guys, before anything is clicking this import button. So that way we get all the information imported from QuickBooks into SuperMove, and that way we can see all of the correct line items that we should be mapping one-to-one. As you saw when I clicked on this, we're told to wait at least 5 to 10 minutes after we click confirm for this action to complete. So that way we're able to see all the accurate information between both systems. Now, once we've done that, let's say, the 5 to 10 minutes have already passed, what we're going to do is we're going to actually exit out of here, and we're now going to go to the billing section. Once we are in the billing section, we're going to choose one of our billing libraries. We're going to do the default one in this case. And now that we're here, we're able to see fees, discounts, and supplies, which are essentially the items that we're wanting to map with the ones in QuickBooks. So that way, when we send an invoice from SuperMove to QuickBooks, the information is stored accordingly. Now, depending on the line item that we're looking at or the item that we're looking at, let's say in this case, the hourly mover's name, which is typically the hourly rate, we're going to click on this blue pencil icon. And once we open this up, we're going to see this option for accounting item. Once we click here, we're going to see the different options that we could map this to. And essentially what we're seeing in this dropdown are the different options from QuickBooks directly, right? So we can see in our test QuickBooks, we have a section called our hourly movers fee. So that's lining up one-to-one and matching there. If I go over to my moving fee, I can see that it's not mapped, but if I wanted to, I could go ahead and map it maybe to a custom item, right? Because I don't have maybe a moving fee set up directly in my QuickBooks, but I still want this map over. Same thing with pre-mover name. We're going to do, okay, and this is actually a great example because here we can see the per position accounting setup. So if, your movers, helpers, foremen, different positions have different rates tied to them, we're able to now set this up and have their own item mapped to them as well, right? So we're going to be able to map, let's say, the mover, the helper, the foreman, the driver, installer, and however other, names you guys have, we'll be able to set that up as well with this new update that we can see here. And for those that did the integration already, you guys already understand how cumbersome it was previously. There was like a lot of Excel sheets that had to be filled out, a lot of back and forth between you, the customer, us at support before the actual mapping was completed. And now everything's just very streamlined. It's just a point and click process, essentially. So this behavior that we're seeing, it's a rinse and repeat process across the rest of the items. So if we had like discounts and if we also have supplies, same thing. We just come over to this section over here, select the accounting item, click save. And once we've have everything mapped, we go back to the company settings, accounting, configure. We go back to this import section and we would review and we would match these items and making sure that everything is correctly mapped. So the moving fee was the one that I did update. We can see that it's now showing up here. If a section is blank, that's obviously because it's currently not mapped to anything, right? So that's a clear indicator there. And that's pretty much what it comes to mapping items, accounting items, right, to SuperMove and QuickBooks. We can do this process as well with clients, right? We can also do client mapping. So that's the second subject that we're going to be touching today. And to do so, we're going to go over to the client section over here. We're going to click on, let's say Joe Holston. We're going to edit the profile. And now that we're in the edit section of this profile, we can see we have the accounting information and the accounting customer section as well. Now, here, this is where we can map it to a customer that is already existing in QuickBooks. So if Joe was already there, I would type in his name, and then you can see a drop down of options or suggestions come forth. So here it would be my duty to obviously look at the list, correctly choose the contact that I want to map Joe to in QuickBooks, and then once I have that set up, I'm going to click save. I'm not going to do it right now because obviously this is not the right Joe, but you guys get the idea of it. And this essentially is a rinse and repeat process, guys. So once again, we go back to clients, we go to the next client that we have, we edit their profile, and we go to their accounting customer section. Here, we type in their name, and we see if we get a match in QuickBooks. And there we go. We do have a match. So now that we have here one-to-one, click save, and we should be good to go like that. Oh, another thing, one thing I forgot to mention, coming back to the integration over here. So when it comes to the accounting customers, same thing. We got to click the import button so that way we have all the information from QuickBooks in Supermove, and that way mapping is going to be effective and a one-to-one. All right. So that was the last thing I wanted to share with you guys when it came to the actual integration and updates we made. It was a very short update, very short session as we can see here, but I did want to leave some space for questions and doubts. So if you guys do have anything you want to bring up, we'll be reviewing the Q&A section right now.
So Sarah's question, in case anyone can't see it, is do we have to map every client individually, or does the import function automate that? Great question. The client mapping feature is only intended to be used if there's an error. So our system is designed to automatically recognize the client based on their name, company name, phone number, email, something along those lines. If the map fails due to either like a duplicate client in QuickBooks, that's when this mapping process can help, because then this allows you from the Supermove side to select individually what profile in QuickBooks it should map to mitigate the error. So again, no, you should not have to do this each time. The client mapping should only be done in the event something goes wrong, or you have, for some reason, multiple profiles of the same client in QuickBooks, and you want to map to a specific one, and you know this ahead of time.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that one. Nick, Katrina asks if we already have this set up, would we need to do anything? So at the moment, no, unless there's any changes that you wish to apply. So, you maybe stopped using a specific field in QuickBooks and you are now using a new one, and then that translates to you having to update the mapping between QuickBooks and Supermove, right? But if you're already set up, essentially this is just a way to make your life a little bit easier when it comes to making updates, right? So you can just leave your integration as is if the mapping is correct till this day.
Awesome. You just take that one step further in answering that question. For anyone that already has the mapping done, you likely experienced what I would consider a bit of a painful process going through Google Sheets, looking at your mapping, manually assigning. So this removes that process entirely. So in the event you change something in the future, yeah, I see the comment. Yeah, in the event you change something in the future, we don't have to go through this Google Sheet process anymore. It's now all in product. You just simply go straight to your billing items and then manually choose what item that's going to map to in QuickBooks.
Exactly. Yeah, we noticed the wall we were running into and happily made changes.
Awesome. Keep the questions coming in. We still have about 15 minutes left.
You're very welcome, Katrina. Guys, yeah, keep those questions and comments coming through. And remember, we do have written material, pretty much articles on these two subjects. They can be found in the knowledge base. One is QuickBooks item mapping, and the other one is QuickBooks client mapping, which is once again what we went and discussed during today's call.
And just in case anyone's on the call and you are curious about something very specific to your account and you don't want to ask in today's webinar, please feel free to email us. That's at help@supermove.com. We'd be glad to take a look at your specific question or specific scenario and do our best to answer.
Sarah says, and for the item mapping, once we're done, that ready to go for all items moving forward? I'm not sure if I understand your questions here, but I guess like if once they're mapped, do you have to do mapping again? No. If it's already been mapped, you're good to go. Nothing else is needed from that point on, unless a change happens, right? If any changes happen to the fields in Supermove compared to the ones that you have in QuickBooks or vice versa, then that's when you would make changes, right? But yeah, if you already made the mapping and it's to your liking and to your needs, then you're good from there. Nothing else is needed.
Yeah, sure. This is intended to be more of like a one and done process. But again,
Mhm.
as business changes and you add more items to your QuickBooks environment or on the Supermove side, that's when you may have to go back and assign some new items. Looks like questions have been answered. If anything does pop up and we weren't able to answer in today's session, again, please reach out to us at help@supermove.com. We're happy to take a look at your specific questions, specific account environment, and answer anything regarding QuickBooks. We hope these changes help make things a little easier moving forward. And I just want to take a quick moment again to say thank you to Lewis for walking us through these new features with QuickBooks.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Nick, and thank you very much to everybody that joined. Hope everybody has a great day.